Welcome to another edition of Cybersecurity Divas Leadership Moments with Lindrell Downs. Today's edition is brought to you by Fortify Experts, a cybersecurity search and consulting firm that helps companies build high-performing security and risk teams. Now here's Lynn.
Hello, my name is Lindrell Downs. I'm the founder of Cybersecurity DIVAS, and I am here with Angela Williams, director of Blue Cross Blue Shield, Michigan. Angela, kind of tell me a little bit about yourself.
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me today. This has been I've had a whirlwind sort of career. So I was not into security when I was in high school or in college. I kind of fell into it after college. I went to school what I thought to be a chemical engineer and did not make it. Okay. My dad told me, if you're studying so hard and you're still getting C's, you need to drop the chemical engineering degree. So I did. And I decided, okay, I'll take liberal arts for a while. And I started playing with computers in one of my general classes, which opened up my mind to a possibility of something that was going to spawn into a fantastic career for myself. So I graduated from college with a bachelor's and a master's degree in computer information systems and a minor in business administration. And it wasn't until approximately maybe 20, 25 years ago where I was working for a CIO who wanted to create and move their security program forward. I was there to help them with their IT, maturity. I was all into network infrastructure and applications and project management. That was where my bread and butter came from for the first 10 or 15 years of my career. And here I am being thrown and asked into a space that was completely uncharted territory. And he said, you just have that problem solving mindset. You will not let things go if you don't think it's right. And we're having a challenge as it relates to data being compromised or stolen. So I thought, that's very intriguing, but I wasn't interested anyway. The CIO said, hey, I need you to be in this role. And I just did not at first grasp onto it, but eventually I did. I said, okay, fine, I'll take on this challenge. And I started getting cybersecurity from working for him and figuring out processes, policies, applications, infrastructure, things that people needed to have in place that just wasn't there from a security perspective. And being in IT in my early years at 19, once I got out of college, it helped build the foundation into my cybersecurity practice because I understood what the IT foundation was all about. And then layering security on top of it was an easy transition for me at that time.
Oh, love it. That sounds great. So have any mentors played a big part into where you are today?
Absolutely. Mentors are very key in anybody's career. You have to have someone who is going to challenge you, stretch you, tell you who you are, or pull out things from you that you may not even recognize in yourself. So I've had multiple mentors throughout my career. I've had multiple male, female, white, Black, totally different backgrounds who I think invested in me, I'll put it like that, and saw something that I didn't see at the time. And then when I started to see those things in myself, I could always rely on those mentors to help me figure out how to navigate corporate America, how to figure out what the next step should look like in my career, or reach for a goal that I thought was maybe unattainable.
Okay, great. And who would you say your greatest mentor was, if you had to name one?
Ooh, that's so hard. That's so hard. All of them bring such a unique dimension to the table. I have what I call like a personal board of directors. These are people who are all my mentors, but they all play a different role. So I can't say one person, like tops. Well, my mom, maybe she's a great mentor, but in my career, everyone just played such a unique position to helping me. And I couldn't just say one person did it all.
Okay. What was your greatest challenge in your career?
A couple things, I would say. A woman of color in an IT organization is a challenge within itself because it's a predominantly white male industry. And so I faced a lot of challenges trying to be recognized, acknowledged, and respected for what I brought to the table, what I knew, what I went to school for, what I felt I was experienced in. So those I felt early were some of the biggest challenges I had. as I started navigating my career and gaining more experience and credentials, things of that nature, I think the challenge is being seen as an equal. In cybersecurity, you still see even less women of color in chief security officer roles. And therefore, I think that's still a certain type of look that they're, I guess, leaning toward more so than not. So my goal was to be, I call it not a trailblazer, but a runway plower, where I could move things out of the way for other people who look like me, so they would have less of a challenge coming into a room, not being the only person of color at the table, being respected no matter what, because you were in the room to begin with, and not having to feel or to prove anything to anyone. So kind of knocking down those barriers has been some of the challenges I've had to endure throughout my career.
Okay, I love that. Being a woman of color also, I do understand completely. I'm gonna kind of get off that a little bit, so go a little different direction. What is your favorite podcast?
It's a couple of them, because I don't listen to just one. I have a couple of them in my pocket. And I listen to them depending on what I'm looking for, some inspiration. It could be a spiritual one. If it's like, I love TED Talks. Those are so good.
Yes.
I can go on TED Talk and I can feel inspired about something I want to do in my house, or I want to feel inspired about career. I want to be inspired about how to do a presentation. So I do go to TED Talks as a go-to probably most often than anything.
Okay. What would you say somewhere in your early career, what mistake or either somebody made you have seen others make in cybersecurity? What would you do different?
Well, what I do different that I think I made a mistake? I don't think mistakes it's not a mistake. I think everything you do is just a lesson and opportunity to be better, whether it's interaction with your peers and how to navigate organizational politics, whether it's, did you go get degrees first or start the work experience first? I don't think any of those things are considered mistakes. It's just a path that works for you.
Right.
And so when I think of my career, I went to school first, and then I went into the corporate America. And I've seen people who went to corporate America first and then went to school afterwards. I've seen people who didn't get certifications and those who do have certifications. And none of that really is a winner or loser sort of a position. It's just what worked well at that time for that person. I don't think I would want to do any of it differently, because I don't know where I would end up at that point, to be honest with you. I'm like, if I changed something, what would I have looked like today at that point in time? I've done some things in my past where maybe I didn't voice myself enough because I was very intimidated by the people around the room. Like I said, I was the only woman and I was the only woman of color at the table. And I got really intimidated by others who sounded like they were smart. But then later on, I figured out they're not any more smarter than me. I just need to believe in myself and move forward. So speaking up and not, backing down and not feeling as if I needed to be smaller in the room versus just being me is probably some of the things I would have changed, but I don't think it would have changed the trajectory as much of my career. I think it is because of how society is a little bit, but I'm very proud of what I've done in my life. I'm very proud of the path that I chose, and I continue to learn every single day.
Oh, yes. I do understand that one. Well, you kind of answered my second question, so I'm not going to go there. So what advice would you give the mid-level security analysts who aspired in cybersecurity?
I'd say understand what it is, meaning cybersecurity is used in a very broad term, and it's so many dimensions to it. It's not like it was 20, 30 years ago, where it was mostly focused on identity theft and people stealing credit card information. And not to say that still doesn't happen, because it does, but there's so many more dimensions to cybersecurity these days. So I would say, for someone who is in this field, do what you're very passionate about, because you want to get up every day and say, I am excited to go to work. I'm excited to do this thing. And it could be risk management. It could be third-party management. It could be governance, which is around policies and standards. It could be very interactive with people around security awareness and training. It could be architect and engineering. It could be SOC. It could be cyber threat hunting. There's so many factors in that word, cybersecurity. So I'd say always work in the space that you're most passionate about, because you'll always then be looking at white papers, you'll be reading books, you'll be interacting with others in that same arena to learn more from them and their experience, because everything you can't get out of a book. Some of it is really real time at work or real time interaction with other people. So go after and always work in the space that you're most passionate about.
All right. I love that. So almost done here. What is your biggest concern about the state of cybersecurity today and cybersecurity threats today?
I'd say some of the biggest concerns probably haven't changed in quite a while. It is still the manipulation of people. We always say our people are the strongest and weakest link in the chain. You know, the more educated people are about the tactics and techniques that are out there that actors are using, the better you are at preventing and equipping yourself to not be a target or not to be a victim. And so I've seen these things evolve over the years to the point where they're kind of threatening a little bit. I've continued to get calls about, you know, your credit card has been compromised or your bank account is about to be seized and you're going to be sued. And it sounds super threatening. And if I wasn't more aware that these are just the tactics, I could potentially respond and give people more information than they actually have. So I really am concerned about the human factor as it relates to cybersecurity. When it comes to the perimeter, there's so many great security organizations out there, so many great technology out there that is there to prevent or mitigate those risks. The people factor, there's no tool for that.
Okay. And last question, where do you see the biggest opportunity to improve security?
The biggest opportunity to improve security is automation. I think the more we can take people that are behind the curtain having to correlate or discern or conclude what they see or what they understand, the better. If we can introduce a little bit more artificial intelligence to begin to measure behavioral analytics and understand, you know, what seems normal versus abnormal, we will block out a lot of the noise. And that's where I think we can see the biggest jump in cybersecurity.
Yeah, that is great. Angela, I want to say thank you for being a diva you are. You one of those driven, inspirational, visionary and women that has taken action in security. You are a cybersecurity diva and you're holding that crown very well. And I want to tell you thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Well, this is the end of it. Look for this. Everybody who's listening to this, look for this interview and we'll talk to you soon.